On November 4th, 2025, 34-year-old Ugandan-born Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani won a decisive victory as the next mayor of New York City, one that caught both insiders and outsiders off guard. What was once considered an unlikely outcome has now become reality, and with it comes a wide array of consequences, from changes in policy direction to shifting alliances, from the reaction of the business community to the pulse of grassroots movements. In this episode, we'll ask, who is Zohran Mamdani, and how did he win? What promises has he made, and can he deliver? And perhaps most importantly, what does Zohran Mamdani election tell us about where we are now, as voters, as citizens, and as neighbors? If you're listening because you want to understand whether this shift marks a turning point, or whether it's a blip in the grander arc of politics, then you're in the right place. So let's get started, because when people choose someone like Zohran Mamdani, what happens next isn't just his story, it's ours also.
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Oh, we're
It's
doing
cold.
good. It's our first really cold snap.
It's going to be freezing in the morning. We're recording on, what is today?
Today's Monday.
Monday.
The 10th.
Tuesday, when we wake up, it will be freezing.
That's wild. And of course, over the weekend, I was out playing music outside, and it was all of 78, 80 degrees outside, not but a few days ago, and here we are, about to be below freezing. I was like, of course it is, of course it is.
Well, it's a little early for us. It doesn't normally get this cold. This kind of cold.
Well, this is actually the normal time that it should get cold, because I can remember as a kid during Halloween, it was cold. You had to dress up. Sometimes you had to wear a costume over a jacket.
Yeah.
But then remember, they also have fired all the scientists from, the Doge stuff. And so our weather patterning is getting back to where it should have been. Remember, oh, wait, halfway through November, still no named storms. Uh-oh. And then the U.S. government came out today and said that chemtrails are real.
I know, that's...
Hello.
These things that we've talked about that, people are, look at you like you're crazy or something. It's,
just for the record, that makes conspiracy theorists up 73 now to nothing.
Yeah, it's, I think what makes these conspiracy theories, because they are grounded in truth. And it's just, I just think there's things going on here that I think we're kind of right now. I feel like we're just kind of swept up right now in this kind of tsunami of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Information overload.
Well, I don't know if information. Yeah, but I'm looking for another term. I feel like there are things happening right now that we're all getting swept up in.
Right.
And I think, everybody thought when, President Trump got elected for the second time, he won the popular vote. The Republicans won the House, won the Senate. We supposedly have the Supreme Court, so supposedly all branches of government are under Republican control. The Democrats were crying and were throwing temper tantrums and oh my God, everybody thought everything was shifting the other way. But one thing I've learned about just watching politics for my life, that there is a universal law that we just seem to can't get away from. Every action causes an equal and opposite reaction. And I do believe
Isn't that Newton's law?
I do believe that is what is led us to our topic today.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought in my lifetime I would see a candidate declaring himself to be a socialist. Now, he declares himself a democratic socialist. I really don't know what that means. Really, that's just socialist. And to win in our nation's largest city.
But you see, what gets me even more than that, he's a radical Muslim.
Yes.
In the city that took 2 jets.
Right.
And killed.
Yeah. You're right, Stoney.
4,000 people. Oh, we will never forget was the motto. Apparently, New York has forgotten.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you look at, I've seen the I've been following the kind of the news that's the aftermath of this, and looking at the people who voted for him, and it was only like 40% of native-born New Yorkers voted for him.
That's still a considerable amount.
It is, but
I would have liked to have seen that more like 4%.
But I think what's happened is there's a lot of people now that are no longer. So that means 60% of the city is people who were not even born there.
Right. That was what I was going to say. You're talking about like, will New York never forget? I was like, I'm pretty sure everyone that was in New York has left because it's not a place you want to be anymore.
It's even more so now.
I was going to say that's
there
what
were
I'm talking
some
about.
crazy statistics about that with this election. 14 to 24% of all the millionaires are planning on exiting New York.
Right.
The same amount of businesses are planning on leaving New York now.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, wow.
And I think that's
New York's going to tank.
I think why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. It's because a lot of that. You were talking about, you said the term like a democratic socialist, whatever. And I think a lot of times in marketing, especially with like food products, they'll put terms on a box, even though it doesn't actually check that criteria at all, or it doesn't even have to worry about it. Like if you go and buy, for instance, like frozen burgers at like a grocery store of some kind, I've seen sometimes that say like it's gluten free, which like of course all of them are gluten free, but it still has to make a point to say that, because it's like it's a buzzword, it's a term, it makes the product feel better. It's quote unquote grass fed. It's like sometimes you can't. That's not always true on the package, but they'll put that term there, and I feel like it's the same thing with this. You have this governor now that's like I'm this thing. It's like, okay, well you're really just a socialist, but
well, I'm telling you, right now I'm looking at an article here in the Guardian. It says one of the most important numbers from the Mamdani campaign is 100,000. So that's the number of people who actively volunteered for this candidate's campaign, knocking on doors, talking to neighbors and coworkers. He was able to bring out thousands of non-voters to the polls, a lot of young people feeling left behind. And I think this is the underlying issue here. And I think it is a warning sign of things to come. There are swaths of the population who feel absolutely not a part of the American dream anymore. Right. And unfortunately, you have candidates coming along and talking about what I'm going to say is probably the most important thing. And I think some people have rightly got on the Republicans.
Right.
Is this issue of affordability that is driving this unrest.
Yeah.
With especially young people under 40. That feel no connection to what America is supposed to deliver. They don't feel like I can afford a house. I can't do anything. I can barely afford a car. I can't afford to get married. I can't afford to have kids. I can't afford to do any of these things. And I think I think we're at an inflection point. Something's going to happen. Something's going to break.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give because it. And I get it. I get it. We're talking about right now with the government shutdown.
Oh, yeah.
And they're talking about the extension of the Obamacare subsidies and what that's going to do for people that are on Obamacare. It's going to, their health insurance is going to double.
First off, the Obamacare stuff was set to end at the end of this year. So it has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with is the $1.5 trillion a year that they want for illegal immigrants to have health care. Yeah. Obamacare was ending at the end of 2025 anyway. That's a non-issue. That they're throwing that out there because they want to extend it a year so it makes it look like what they really care about is free health care. No, they want $1.5 trillion a year for the illegal immigrants to have health care. And so we need to be real clear about that when we throw that out there, because they're lying and they're making shit up as they go along. It's got nothing to do with that.
I agree, but the problem, it still points to the affordability issue in this country. I mean, name the issue: health care, financial security, I mean, you just kind of all the big topic issues. It always comes down to, can I afford this stuff? I mean, if I can't afford any of this stuff, then what does it matter to me? If the system is not working, then you know what? Then the system needs to be burned to the ground and it needs to be rebuilt, because it's not obviously working the way it's supposed to be working. And I'm just I'm scared a little bit right now of what this might mean, because I'm gonna tell you, they have people on the Democratic side, and we all, the AOCs, the Bernie Sanders. I mean, these issues have been kind of percolating now for a number of years. What does it mean for us? Is America becoming more socialist and expecting the government to be the savior? And I
think it's been eking its way that way.
I listened to Mamdani's speech, and something that a lot of people have picked up on. He said that there's no problem government, i.e., government cannot fix. Okay. Which is complete opposite than what, if you remember, another politician from about 40 to 45 years ago that basically said the most terrifying words are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." How much?
You see, the problem with Mamdani's government is eventually you're going to run out of other people's money. Okay, let's look at this. He wants to raise taxes on everybody that makes $1 million a year or more, of which he says that platform is going to raise about $10 billion annually until 20% of those people decide to leave. Okay, then he wants to raise corporate tax rates by 4.5%. So on whatever they're paying now, he wants to add another almost 5% to their taxes, and they're leaving. Okay? So he says he wants to shift the tax burden away from the homeowner to the outer boroughs, so to speak, because the richer people live, he wants
to tax white neighborhoods.
That's exactly what he wants to do, and he just don't want to say it.
Right.
He also pledges to freeze rents.
Oh, good old rent controls.
Okay. And he plans, and he said this, he was very specific. We will crack down on bad landlords, even to the point of taking it away from them.
Uh-oh.
So if you don't play ball, if you don't want to freeze your rent, we'll take your property away from you, and we'll do it ourselves.
Yikes.
Okay. He wants universal child care for children under 6. So basically, he wants to set up the indoctrination centers for people under 6 years old. And they're going to raise them in the Muslim fashion.
Yeah.
And it's going to be free. So you're not going to have a problem with it because you can't afford health care for your kids anyway. There will now be city-owned grocery stores of a wholesale style to lower food costs for New Yorkers. So the mom and pop grocery stores and everything else is gone. It will be owned by the city.
I don't know about all this.
Well, you know what? I have a little thing here. Hey, do you know why the mouse died in the trap?
Why is that?
Because it didn't know why the cheese was free.
There you go.
Okay, and this is a prime example of what's going on. He's setting the trap, and he's already started things. Just the verbiage that he's using. This is going to be insane. The budget for the fiscal year 2025 in New York is about $112.43 billion. So he's thinking now they're going to lose. Think about that. They're going to lose a lot of that with people just, what's the word? Not exile. When you leave.
Exodus.
Thank you. Oh, this brain damage.
That's
is
okay.
Kicking my ass. How it's going to be harder to meet that now.
Yeah.
If you lose 25% or more of your income through taxes because people are leaving you.
Right.
And then where things are now commercialized or run by people who trying to make a little bit of a profit. Okay, your buses isn't free now, but now your bus is going to be free. So now you're going to have to add that money on top of it.
Of course.
Now you're going to have to buy this, and now you're going to have to provide this, and now you're going to have to provide this. What do you think the budget would be? I'm curious about that. What do you think the budget would be for New York City providing everything for free?
Too much, probably.
It would be crazy.
Or the taxes.
I saw that the New York Fire Department chief turned in his resignation as soon as
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now, part of one is, it was just typical of people on this side of the political aisle. Kind of want to defund police, want to relax the prostitution enforcement and not what I call the soft crimes. Welcoming vagrants in the subways and just the problems that just brings. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be problems there if he decides to go that way with it. And there's no doubt in my mind. Now he can look, he may say all these things. He may end up coming back to the center because the reality is he can't raise taxes without the permission of the governor of New York. And the governor of New York has said, no more new taxes. I mean, I just saw one of Bill, the Real Time with Bill Maher. He had Bill O'Reilly on the show, and they were talking about this election and talking about how many people live in New York City. And Bill O'Reilly, I forget what stat, but he says 600,000 have left New York City. 600,000. That's a lot of people.
Where are they going?
Florida.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why Florida?
Matter of fact, there is a...
Did you see, not to interrupt you, where Texas said they're going to have 100% tax on everybody coming from New York?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I think it's a joke, but they're going to,
okay.
if you come from New York, you're going to pay 100% tax.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of them going down to an area. Palm Beach, Florida is a very popular destination for a lot of these people, but there is a kind of a nickname, which is kind of the
Blue hairs.
The southern Wall Street. And
Okay.
We used to call them blue hairs
Yeah.
because they were snow bunnies.
Yeah.
When it got cold up there, they came
yeah.
down to Florida.
Where I
When
lived
when it warmed back up there, they went back up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I lived in
I
Canada,
just-
they did that.
I don't know. As I said, he wants to do a bunch of stuff, but what I'm worried about. I mean, right now this is contained in New York City. I guarantee you, next thing is to run for. I mean, think about on
Governor of New York.
The governor
Yeah.
of New York. Now you got control of the purse strings. But what worries me is right now on the Democratic side. Many people have said he is the Trump of the left.
Okay.
But as far as the charisma and personality and stuff like that, I mean, think of right now who right now is the Democratic Party. It
AOC.
It is. Well, I would
AOC.
venture to say it's Mamdani more than AOC. AOC is kind of I don't think she would be taken very seriously. Anything outside of her own area, but I'm telling you, this is tapping into a lot of people. I've always said it's hard to vote against Santa Claus, because politicians will give you what you want in exchange for power,
Right?
And unfortunately, the destruction that causes long term is terrible. And I worry about America right now about this election. I know this is just one election, but does this inspire other Democrats in other Democratic cities, especially with high Muslim populations? And this is another thing about immigration and this uncontrolled, crossings we had over the border have overwhelmed these cities and are affecting these elections.
Yeah.
Because they're allowing these people to vote. They really are. And that's the problem. I hope the Republicans take this serious and start focusing on America first and quit worrying about the rest of the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to fix this country's problems. And I know no one really wants to do it because, let's be honest, there's probably no money to be made in that.
Right.
There just isn't. And they better do something. Because
I did a quick little thing here. If it is the budget estimated, obviously you really don't know, but you have to look at, if you take over the busing system, that would be $800 to $1 billion a year that you would add taking over the system. So if you do all of that he wants, health care, rent freezes, tax fees, everything, the budget of New York City would go up to almost $180 billion.
Wow.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Think about that. Now, 25% of the businesses and millionaires are going to leave, and now all of a sudden you're going to pop your budget up from $114 billion to $180 billion, even if it's $150 billion. Because right now it's only estimates.
Of course.
Nobody really knows for sure. But think about that. That's bankrupt. That's a bankrupt city right there.
Well, especially
and now you really got pissed off people.
What's the current budget?
$114 billion.
Oh, oof. Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
That's a bankrupt city with a whole bunch of angry New Yorkers. Have y'all ever been to New York? I have. They angry.
Oh, I know.
They walk around angry. Now give them a real reason to be angry.
Well,
and I love New York. Okay, I've been there. I love it.
That's if
I love the city.
That's if there's any left.
If there's any left, yes.
Unless they've all ran away. We're going to be saying that about Florida now, apparently.
Oh, man. What?
Yeah. As if Florida wasn't crazy enough.
I remember when I was in near Aspen, Colorado.
Right.
There was an interstate system that came through the area that I was. And pointing west were two signs on the interstate, the entrance interstate.
I think you mentioned this.
And it said, if you were from California and you plan on staying more than 3 days, turn around and go home. Florida needs to do the same thing. Say, if you're from California and you plan on staying more than a week or so, carry your ass back up north.
That's crazy.
Well, I'm telling the big issue is affordability, and that's driving.
It's 100%, dude. You're right.
Look, it is people, especially young people, are angry right now, and I don't know if we right now have an answer for them. I really don't.
The big thing too is like now there's so many jobs where like you can work a remote job. So like I could work a job in New York remotely and live for super cheap in Texas. Or like they do the same sort of thing with Los Angeles. There's a lot of people that do a lot of work over in Los Angeles that work remotely that live in Texas. Because it's like I can make enough money to live out there, but I sure as heck can't afford to live in Los Angeles or New York. So it's like I'll go live down in Florida where it's nice and cheap, and I can go work at a remote job in New York and not have to be there.
And I'm kind of worried that there's really not a young right now Republican that, to me, this goes back to another episode that we did. And it was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I'm worried that there's no one really on the Republican side anymore talking to young people.
Right.
And that worries me.
The ones we do have are kind of radical.
Unfortunately, a voice has risen on the right. And I don't think it's who you want.
Uh-oh. I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't want to say it.
I mean, I think you know who he
is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's go.
It's. I mean, he just did an episode with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, we're talking about the same guy.
It's Nick Fuentes, and Nick is out there.
Oh, he's out there.
He is out there. I mean, he's basically said he's an admirer of Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler, and
the crazy thing is that he has the
got
voice
about
of
5 million followers, young men.
Yep, on the
and
right.
I'm telling you, they're tapping into this insecurity. I'm going to get left behind. I'm being squeezed out. I'm being replaced, and I'm telling you, this is what I was worried about was who was going to rise up on the right side of the political spectrum that was going to replace Charlie Kirk. What made Charlie Kirk so effective? His Christianity was interwoven into his message when he went onto those campuses and talked to young people and kind of engaged with them on a level that he could connect with them. The same thing is happening with Nick Fuentes now, and his stock is going up quite. This kid has been basically
he's been blazing a trail
deplatformed since he was 18 years old. Now, I hate to say it, but I think what they did to him when he was a freshman in college was probably not the right way to deal with him. I think
I agree.
If they would have maybe somebody would have stepped in and tried to provide some guidance for him.
Yeah.
Instead, they basically stuck him in a closet and told him to shut up. And they blacklisted him, deplatformed him. Matter of fact, he could not even fly on a commercial airplane. For a year.
They tried their best.
They tried their best to get rid of this guy.
He's loud
and
now.
what it did, so what's happening now?
Yeah.
What are you seeing right now? The extremes on the left and the extremes on the right now are rising. The middle is getting squeezed out. And people are now basically going to the extremes of these two sides of the political spectrum, which neither of them are good.
Oh, right.
Neither of them are good. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just not, because it doesn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that get the attention.
Right.
They get the clicks.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
It does. And so, once again, here you go. You see the ascendance of Trumpism and MAGA.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now, what are you seeing? There's an equal opposite reaction. Now you got the rise of democratic socialists showing up now. They're angry. They don't like Trump. They don't like MAGA. They think all those people are just crusty old men who want to keep things just the same the way they are. And it's just, and then now you got what you're going to see is now you're starting to see the beginnings of the rise of the far right. Which is not good either, because the far right is generally filled with people that probably you don't want to deal with.
Right.
They just it's just what it is.
Probably a little bit radical.
And so it's a bad time. Once again, I go back to what we said. Are we in our fourth turning?
I don't know.
Are we? Is this part of this conflict that's starting to happen? and whatever emerges
Yeah.
out of this,
I got to read that book again.
out of this fight,
Yeah.
what is it going to look like?
What is the aftermath?
What is the new world order?
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
Because somebody's going to lose.
All right.
Somebody will lose.
Yeah.
And it's going to go away.
Right.
And you'll either have to accept it or go off hide in the woods somewhere.
I hate to say this, but it sounds like everything we're talking about, the best thing to happen is December 29th, 3-Eye Atlas drive up and say, okay, y'all are food. Screw all this bullshit. Y'all are food. Soup, barbecue,
I think, Stoney, I think there is a truth to that. I think the only thing that stops this, I hate to say it, and this eventual conflict in this I don't know how we can hold right now. Something external has got to happen to wake people up from that, because right now we're going to start tearing each other apart. It's just what it is.
I had this cartoon. I'm going to go behind the curtain of Stoney a little bit.
Here we go.
My favorite cartoon was Calvin and Hobbes.
Heck yeah. Love it.
I love Calvin and Hobbes. Until I lost them in a fire, I had all of the books by the author with everything. And one day I'm going to replace that. But I blew up and I had my favorite Calvin and Hobbes cartoon. And Calvin and Hobbes were walking kind of in a wooded field area, and there was a big pile of trash. And Calvin looked to Hobbes and said, the surest sign that there's intelligent life out there is that it hasn't stopped here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's, with the shithole stuff that we got going on right now, why would anybody, now, 3-Eye Atlas, one of the things they said was they caught this Morse code thing, and it said, we're coming to change y'all and make some, I'm like, oh, here it comes. Here it comes. That may be what we need, actually.
I just, right now I'm looking at just this. I think this discontent with just the way things are. This is right now the median age of House members is 57.5 years old, and the Senate is 64.7 years.
Yeah,
according to Pew Research.
Well, they said that the kids, Gen Z, they were the earliest ones to be able to vote in this last election.
Yeah.
They were so upset. So many of them voted for Donald Trump because they saw what was going on. And they missed an opportunity to build on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to build on the little things. Instead of going for the super big things, what can we build on here? And the Republicans missed a great opportunity there with those young people, because so many of them voted for this change, and then they started the inner fighting and bickering, and the media now can spin this shutdown any way they want and blame it on the Republicans, even though wholeheartedly smart people know it's the Democrats.
There is no. I think there has been a missed. Let's say
a huge missed opportunity.
Well, I wouldn't say it's missed yet. You still have about 12 months for the midterms,
right?
So you've got to turn around. You've got to start focusing on what you were there for. And what does the Republican Party look like post Trump? Because right now, Trump is the
I've
party.
Been saying this.
What is the Republican? What do you stand for?
What it would have banned for was J.D. Vance and Charlie Kirk as his running mate.
Well,
that's I think one of the reasons they killed him was they knew he was going to be the next vice president. No doubt.
Exactly, and I'm telling you, that was a huge loss.
Yes,
they said that just real quick, the country's median age is 39.1 years old. So there's a huge gap.
I'm close to that.
Yeah, there's a huge gap.
I used to see the shifty eyes I got.
The elected leadership, and I think the people in the country. But I mean, we are we're definitely, people are unhappy with the way things are going, and something has got to be done. Now, the question is what? I guess the question is, well, I need to be able to afford a home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. What do you do to make homes cheaper, though? Okay, so let's just off the top of our head, okay, we're going to build a house. What's the cost that goes into that?
But
Right.
it's deeper than that. It's just not buying the house. Okay, this is a generational show, and you have to look at what house do you want. My generation and my parents' generation, they didn't build the $500,000 home with the cathedral ceilings and the 4-car garages and then park 2 brand new cars in it and the side-by-side and the motorcycle and everything else. You went and bought a starter home within your budget.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe, depending on what type of man you were, the woman drove. If you had 2 cars, the woman drove the better car because, I'm a man. If it breaks down on me, I don't care. I need my woman and kids to get back and forth safely. You didn't have the brand new vehicles. You did it smart. But now with the advent of all this social media and all this competition, everybody, hey, I'm 21 years old. I need a $400,000 house.
Well,
really? Now I know. You and I've had this conversation, and I know
hard.
you're not like that. But think about the mentality of the majority of the people today.
I think the hard part. You're right, but I think it's also hard when there are, I think, people that are normal people that I think I try to lump myself into that. I think I'm pretty normal. I think technically I'm. Anyways,
sure.
All I'm going to say is that the options that I've seen so far that are in my budget are either in a part of town that I don't want to live in.
But that was part of the deal with our two. Sometimes we had to go where we didn't want to be.
Okay, well, but I don't think that your starter home was in some parts of the neighborhood that I've seen around here. That's all I'm saying. Once upon a time in that generation, I don't think there was parts of town like that.
There was.
But I don't believe your starter home was there. Whereas it's either that's
mine
the case.
Was.
Okay.
Mine was on Hollywood Street.
There you go. But anyways, it's either that or again, it's like it's falling apart, and that's the problem. It's like I'm not going to go invest in a home that I'm going to have to put more money into it than it's worth. But anyways, that's...
But you see, that's part of the mentality. Well, what the old people said, if you don't nail at least one nail in the house every day, the house is going to fall down around you.
Right,
that was part of it, was building your house, maintaining your house, changing the things and doing it. Everybody wants a perfect house now.
No. I hear you. But what I'm saying is that the times are different. That house that is falling apart, that needs repair, is $350,000.
I agree with that,
and that's ridiculous.
Yes, I understand
if that house was half that price, I would be okay with it.
Right.
But the problem is that the house that is not falling apart, that is in that budget, is in a part of town where I'm like, I don't feel safe walking the streets. Right. So I'm like, I'm kind of like I'm in a rock and a hard place. At least that's my personal situation. But I know I'm also a 1-income household, and. So, anyways, I just know that there are other things that take into account.
So my question is, you're of that age, in that age group that is right now facing these realities of everyday life now, of figuring out how I'm gonna plot my future. Trying to buy a home. So, what do you think? What do you want? I mean, as far as I want a cheaper house, how do you bring that about?
I have a question. Are you ready to move to New York now that all this stuff is going to be free and taken care of for you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Would you vote? That's what I'm saying.
That's the point I was trying to go.
Would you vote for someone with that? I'm curious. If a candidate in an area that you're living promises, I'm going to do this, this, and this.
Would you vote for him?
Would you vote for it?
Me personally, I would have to do some more research onto it because again, I feel like I'm in the same camp as Stoney a lot of times. Where I'm like, I'm all no, hold on. Is it like? But the thing is,
I'm coming. This is the big one.
I've said this in the past, but I don't think Stoney's listened to me because I think we do agree on some of the same situations.
No, we do, and I know.
Is that like I think that I'm all for those kind of things, but how are we going to pay for it?
And look, you have to understand with me, sometimes I know that we're agreeing. Yes. I'm just fracking with you.
That's okay.
And I'm just trying to get a rise out of it.
I don't know. And that's what makes, I think, an interesting show.
Yes.
Is when we get a little bit heated sometimes. So, but again, I would have to look into some of that sort of stuff because I think that some policies or some situations or some funding situations, I think could potentially help out some of that. But at the same time, I also don't want to be in a situation where I'm like having to, I'm going to get
It's like I told Miranda
robbed.
the other day. I know the argument's over, and I know I lost. I'm just really trying to piss you off right now.
I'm just trying to push your buttons. But like right now, I know a big situation in the neighborhood that I'm around. They had some really nice new houses that got built right after COVID. So like all of the like materials costed so much more than it normally would. So all those houses that look so beautiful that like I don't think many people live in are, I think, a little bit artificially inflated because, and like they're not big houses. They don't have much land, but they're like $450,000. I'm like, my word,
That's
it's
about,
in a great. It's in
But
a
then
great.
you also got to see what Zillow and BlackRock
you're
and
right.
Straight Street are doing because they were inflating the prices. BlackRock would come in and buy them for more than the inflated prices. And then you know,
and the thing is,
really?
for me right now, like I'm also kind of taking a bit of a pessimistic lean, you know, to kind of prove a point. Like I know that there are areas where I live next to that aren't terrible. Is it probably a bit out of the way? Yes. Could I potentially afford a house there that's not perfect? Yes, that's totally fine. I haven't been looking recently, but a lot of times I've been renting. You know, I've either rented an apartment that was really nice, or I'm currently renting a house. So it's like the house has a nice bit of land that is, it's in a nice part of town that I don't feel unsafe in, and it is very affordable, especially with a roommate. And so it's like I kind of don't want to ruin a good thing because if I go to a house that is not quite as good or in a less than optimal part of town, I'm probably going to spend more money than I'm spending right now. Now, yes, that money's going into potentially owning the home and blah blah blah, et cetera. I get all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But right now, it's like it's kind of. Do you want to? I'm comfortable, and that's probably a flaw.
A bad place to be.
Well, you're right. Well,
You know?
that's a hard thing for me. Is like once I'm comfortable, I get it. I have a hard time shaking myself up to do something that's going to potentially, especially financially. You know, I'm as an artist, a lot of times. You know, if the money's coming in and you're in a comfortable spot, don't shake it up. Don't make it worse for yourself. So, but that's just it's a personal thing. So I know that I'm a very different person in my age bracket, but I know there are certain people, certain friends of mine that are married now with 1 or 2 kids now, and you know they have 2 incomes and they have a nice, decent home. And
you know that's one thing. So we're a generational show, and I hate the fact that boomers are boxed here, and X-Gen are boxed here, and millennials are boxed here. Yeah, we kind of lean toward that,
right?
But we're all individuals. What's the old saying? Remember, you're unique, just like everybody else.
100%.
And it's like we box people in together, but we're in the same storm. Now, some people are in yachts.
Right.
Some people are in big boats. Some people are in canoes. Some people are on life rafts. Some people have on life jackets, and some people are drowning.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's the same storm. And we're all just trying to figure this out. And what can we do? And then somebody like Mamdani comes in and promises the free cheese.
Right.
Well, look at every other socialistic government that's ever happened in this world. Venezuela.
Oof.
One of the greatest South American, it was the top South American country for decades.
Right.
Producing, exporting. All of a sudden, socialism comes into it, and within 10 years, it's at the bottom, and people are dying, people are hungry. I don't want that for America.
Right.
Look, this is where I often struggle. Where is the line that you can tax somebody's work? Where does the law of diminishing returns happen?
Oh, that's already happened because it's not just the income. You taxed on your income, it's taxed on your house, taxed on your car, yearly taxed on your house after you paid the taxes on your house. Okay, then you got your food. Then you're taxed on your services. Then you're taxed. There is no recovering from this tax situation. This country was founded on a 50-cent tax on a breakfast beverage. And we are already overtaxed. Don't agree with everything Donald Trump is doing and saying, but that's what he's trying to resolve with the tariffs. This country was founded on a tariff system, not taxing the people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of the frustration, I hear a lot of comments, about Trump ain't doing this, Trump ain't doing that. And this is where I think the divide in the Republican Party is. You have MAGA, and then you have traditional Republicans. And I think that's where the divide is. So I hate to say it, but there are a lot of bills that if Trump had his way, he would, I think some of the things he campaigned on would happen. I think what's happening is there's a lot of Republicans that are not on board with his agenda. And so
he messed up when he came in. He said and that was his little fight with Elon Musk. Okay, we're going to go to one bills. We're not going to have big, beautiful bills anymore. He kind of backtracked on some things, and he hurt himself tremendously. Because while he had Elon Musk helping him out and he had other people helping him out, things were a little bit differently. But now those changes, when he put that big, beautiful bill in, and it was 1,500 pages, and it had this pork, this pork, this pork, this pork, this pork, while we're trying to cut the pork with Doge over here, it kind of muddied his message.
I don't believe any politician will ever cut anything. I hear it. You can pretty much, at the state level, at the national level, at the end of the day, no one wants to cut anything.
Well, look at even normal businesses. When you work, let's say if you work for the state, okay, are you going to cut your budget? Are you going to spend less than what your department's budget is in a year? It would make you look good if you did. Hey, I did all of this work under budget. I used 80% of my budget this year. What would happen the next fiscal year? You would lose the 20% that you didn't spend.
Right.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. There's
and that's in any business. That's in any government. Yeah. You got to spend it or you lose it.
There's numbers got to go up.
There's no incentive. There really isn't any incentives for government to really ever cut. That's why I don't believe.
Well, the incentive is doing the right thing for the taxpayer and the American citizen.
I think
that's the right thing.
I believe we're kind of crossed the Rubicon on that.
I agree, 100%.
I think there's no politician will ever say you're going to do with less.
Oh yeah,
you would never get elected.
No,
you would not get elected because I hate to say it, there are more loafers than there are producers.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what a socialistic government is. Once you get to that cusp, that point there. How do you get back? Because you're not going to convince all of these people to go back to work. You're not going to convince. That's what the cheese is.
What's what we had? We had the same conversation. We did a few weeks ago about the whole SNAP benefit thing. Once someone keeps this train moving, once you keep getting this. My dad used to say this growing up, and I never really understood it until I got a little bit older. But he was like, once. How did he phrase it? He says, you can give a man cheese and crackers his whole life and he would be happy. But the second you give him bread and ham, you can't expect him to go back. Once he has the taste of the good stuff, once you bring him back down to the other stuff, you're like, he's gonna be like, wait a minute, I kind of wanted that. I kind of wanted that good stuff again.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. You'll never. It's just I hate to say it. Look at right now with the government shutdown and the whole SNAP issue.
Yeah,
I mean, you had people basically. That's my right to get that SNAP money, and people are about ready to riot.
Yeah, of course.
Over that. Just proves to me. I don't know how you reel any of this stuff back.
Right.
You've created constituencies of dependency on all this stuff. And once they have it, they have it. You're not going to pull it away. Short of some, apocalyptic disaster happens, and that would be about it. As I said, it's people will always take the easy way.
Well, think about
they will never take the hard way.
100%. But think about the Universe 25 experiment. Are you familiar with that?
I haven't heard about the Universe 25 experiment.
Okay. What they did was I think they took like 300 mice and they put them in this fantastic structure.
I think now that you
they
say
gave
that,
them all the water they needed. They gave them all the food that they needed. They had everything that they needed. And within a certain amount of time, fights, riot, rapes, All of these things started happening in this socialistic, we're providing all of you. They had the perfect heat and cool. Everything was provided for these mice. And within an X amount of time, I'd have to look it up to see, and please forgive me but the colony died.
It was
Because people think about, okay, how many ED commercials do you see on TV, on your stuff? Erectile dysfunction. Nobody's having sex anymore. Well, that's what happened in this colony. The mice quit having sex. The colony died after that's what we're doing here in America.
I'm trying to understand the experiment. So you're saying they put a bunch of mice.
So it says that basically it was a 101 by 101 inch cage that was sometimes called the rodent utopia, quote unquote, which had ample amounts of resources like food,
unlimited water, nesting materials,
Okay.
temperature control. Everything was perfect.
Ideal living conditions.
Yes.
What happened?
The study was supposed to it was to study psychological effects of extreme like overcrowding on like a population without limiting like natural factors of like predators and diseases and stuff like that. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, it collapsed.
Oh, okay. Here I found I typed. I got it. 0 to 104 days, small stable growth. 105 to 314, rapid reproduction, prosperity, population doubles every 55 days, steep increase. 315 to 560 days, stagnation, growing slows. After day 560, population crashes to extinction.
The key findings that it says here was it says that the population density increased initially, but then it says they called it, the term I think they coined it was behavioral sink is what they called, emerged. And it basically says that mating rituals ceased, mothers abandoned their young, leading to high infant mortality rates.
And cannibalization
and infanticide, just the killing of children or eating of children. Some mice became socially withdrawn, passive, while others became aggressive and destructive. So it's just one of these things where like they had everything, population grew, and all of a sudden like everything went into hysteria, and it collapsed like slowly across, like Stoney had just said.
And you know what was funny? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you were taking a break. The experiment was done a number of times.
Yeah.
Guess what the common denominator was? Same thing happened each time.
And that's what they coined behavioral sink. So that's the same sort of thing. It's like we're potentially experiencing a behavioral sink in our own.
It's a microcosm of human behavior when under the same circumstances.
Yeah.
And
people are doing a lot of parallels to abortion and to other situations
but also
like that.
I want to throw something that you said. Remember we did an episode, was it Dating in the Modern World, where you said only the beautiful people can do this. This happened in that society. The beautiful mice didn't reproduce. They were the beautiful ones.
Right.
They shined. They cleaned themselves. What's happening online? These beautiful people are this thing that, men are stupid enough to send, $15.99 to whatever woman a month to look at her pictures. It's the same thing happening today. It's exactly the same thing happening today. The world is Experiment 25. They're trying to give you unlimited everything that you want and for free. Hey, cheese ain't free. It's a trap.
I think there was also some stuff that said there was like excessive grooming and things like that, like Stoney had said, where there was I think there was some other sexual stuff. Anyways, I think there's some videos on it I could probably send you later. It's an interesting kind of thing.
So
I think I've watched
it's basically population collapse.
Yes.
But again, the big kind of
500 and something days, it's done.
Right. But if this is a small thing, think of it on a larger scale, kind of like what we're dealing with. A lot of people there's a lot of, like I said, parallels between sexuality stuff and males over grooming.
I think they even did one of the studies with white mice, and the white mice's brain is more similar to ours. I think I remember. God, I'm sorry about the brain damage, guys.
I'm actually curious. I forgot about this until you mentioned it. Behavioral sink is kind of the token term that this is used for, but that's the study that kind of came about. But yeah, it's it's interesting to think about, especially when talking about what we've been talking about today, all these kind of socialistic things, and so yeah. Who knows?
Well, I'm looking at something else here, which I find interesting with the. Which is, I'll tell you, so it was a lot of younger people are upset with the whole Gaza issue right now. I found some stats here. Pew Research poll last year found that just half of Jewish Americans under 35 said the way Israel has carried out the war has been acceptable, while 68% of Jews aged 50 and older says it was acceptable. So that's telling me a lot of Jews under, in those young ages are not happy with the way that whole conflict is being handled. And I'm telling you, I think that had something to do with Mamdani tapping into that discontent.
Well, I think it also hasn't, I mean, I don't want to be too controversial here, but I think that was a whole lot of stink about the whole free Palestine
join
thing.
the dark side with me. We can be controversial over here.
Okay.
Come on.
I was going to say it was a lot of, yelling, hooping and hollering about free Palestine. And the second Trump goes in there and starts actually doing some ceasefire work and actually creating some peace.
It was never about peace in Gaza.
It was never about the free in Palestine.
No.
It was never about that. It was all about
because they should have hailed him
as
a hero.
He finally did what they wanted.
Exactly.
Never heard not a single thing about it. I was like, okay, I see how it really is. You're all just peacocking around. You're all just pretending like you're waving your flag.
I think I'm very curious about that, since New York City has a very large Jewish population. I was curious what they're thinking with this Muslim mayor being elected, and kind of some of the things that I'm reading here. Said many members of our community woke up with a sense of unease, said Hindi Pupico, senior vice president at the UGA Federation of New York. It's a major Jewish nonprofit. So there's a lot of uncertainty about how Mayor Mamdani might act once in City Hall.
He said first thing he's doing is shutting the police force is gone.
Bro,
they're gone.
What?
They're done.
It's
over.
It's going to be pandemonium.
Yeah, it says Jewish opponents of Mamdani expressed concern about his refusal to condemn the phrase "globalize the Intifada," a slogan of support for Palestinians that some interpret as a call to violence against Jewish people. He says after his nomination, Mamdani privately told a group of business leaders that he would not use the phrase and would discourage others from using it, according to a July New York Times report.
I love you say something so radical. Like, oh, psych, my bad, don't say that.
Yeah, they said the Anti-Defamation League last week launched a Mamdani monitor to track his executive appointments and other actions for potential harm to the Jewish community.
Is he specifically kind of anti?
He's a radical Muslim.
Well,
he is a he's a radical Muslim.
All right.
I mean, he said all the right things about stamping out any anti-Semitic talk, but he's also cavorts with people that are dubious. In that regard. Like, for example, the big controversy with him is he was seen arm in arm with the guy that was was involved in the or was claimed to be involved in the World Trade Center bombing.
Okay,
if you recall that.
Interesting.
So, and there's kind of been back and forth. Well, that was kind of, the picture was taken out of context. The others said no, he knew exactly what he was when they took those pictures, because they vet those people who they take pictures with because of the. So, yeah, I don't know. Trump said on Tuesday any Jewish voter who supported Mamdani is a stupid person.
Oh no!
And I think right now the right's got its own issues with the whole fracturing with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and
of course,
and it's a mess now. It's a shame, but that doesn't surprise me. that happens. It just seemed like there's always a force that's preventing this from really coalescing into one deal. And as I said, I think there are a lot of Republicans that are not on board with MAGA. They just aren't. They're there because they have to be, but they've never really been on board with Trump.
Right.
And what Trump appeals to is populism.
Yeah.
And kind of the worker.
Well, I think also,
it's just they've never been wanting to, part of the whole thing of bringing manufacturing back to the United States.
Right.
No, because that takes their profit away from them.
Exactly. It kind of breaks the paradigm of what's been going on for the last, 40 to 50 years. When Nixon opened up China and companies realized that, hey, we've got a source of cheap labor.
Right.
That's when you started seeing companies really started moving in the 80s, and then by the 90s they were rocking and rolling.
We
and
started the socialist movement. We started buying instead of creating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
He said this Jewish supporter said the election proves that the Jewish vote is far from monolithic. He goes, I support Mamdani not in spite of his views on Israel and Palestine, but because of them. Said Ronnie Zavi Bruner, 26, an Israeli who canvassed for the candidate. I don't think that speaking out against genocide is that big of a risk. So there you go.
I don't know.
I mean, but I mean, look,
who.
But I mean, you think about it. Look who the Democrats, who he was running against. It was against Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
Cuomo had his own issues.
Well, he had the name Cuomo number one.
Well, but he just had the sexual abuse things there, and it was just some negativity associated with him. And when he was governor of New York, especially during COVID, and we all saw what happened there.
Yikes!
I think it was just a perfect vortex of things to happen. I think there's anger of just things are just unattainable for people. And a part of me, I sympathize with that, because if I can't feel like I have a stake in the game, then what good is this for me? And you got enough people that this happens to, then basically you have I hate to say it, but you have another French Revolution.
Oh yeah,
and it's off with their heads. Type of mentality. Like this old system, it's just not working. And I don't know really what the fix is. I don't know what the fix is to get health care. Right. I have been a big advocate that no one should go bankrupt because I'm sick. Now, how you deliver that, I don't know.
Right.
I don't have an answer for that.
Well, what do they say? 75% of Americans are one moderate vehicle repair away from bankruptcy.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's insane.
Because most families, the margins they're operating under are tight.
Worse than check to check.
It's tight. It's really tight. And you got a lot of people living in a lot of debt. So interesting times that we're in. I will be very curious how this plays out, how the Republicans respond to this. I mean, right now we're trying to get over this government shutdown, but I saw.
And while we're recording this, there's some possibilities brewing.
I think the Senate. I know Marjorie Taylor Greene has been the Republican representative from Georgia, has been making the circuit. She's been going on The View and all the podcasts, and she's pretty angry because she wants to work. I know she blames Mike Johnson for the shutdown, but I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. So we'll see what comes out of this, but I think our listeners really need to pay attention to what this means, especially if you see other like-minded Democrats win how, and then all of a sudden now, what does that person on a national scale
Yep.
look like?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but you see what is Milwaukee? That comparable person lost.
Yes.
And AOC comes
yeah.
out, which is her district, and says it's racist.
Right.
Well, no, it's smartest. People are getting tired of your socialistic bullshit.
Well, I think a lot
And
of these,
lost bad.
a lot of these people, I don't really think they truly think out. I mean, I'd say it. We're in the age of quick clicks and I want to say some shock. It's sort of like kind of equivalent to the football field, if I can make that analogy. We've lost the fundamentals of tackling because they're looking for the big hit to make the highlight
who
reel.
said that?
You
Oh,
did.
yeah, I did. Thank you.
I think you apply that to the political. I think people shoot out things. They don't really think out what they're saying because ultimately you're going to have to take other people's money. And then the question comes in, at what point then now you rob people of the initiative to create things that move society forward?
But also on top of that, in 100% agreement with you, what happened this morning? Donald Trump made an announcement. What was that announcement?
Was it the
$1 billion lawsuit against the BBC
Oh, yeah.
for taking two of his speeches and putting them together and making it look like he was
presented
inciting.
a false. Yep.
What happened today? The CEO and one of the news directors resigned.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't see
I
that.
saw that.
Yes.
Well, look.
You can't even say something and it be real.
I said, people, when that whole thing happened, I said
Oh, yeah.
that was not what he said.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what people believed.
Oh, gosh.
That, yes, he advocated to break into the... I said, no, he never said any of that stuff. I said, that's just... I get in these conversations with people online and they post stuff. I'm like, look, you've got to be objective. I mean, this hate Trump for everything. You basically pin why the world sucks because Donald Trump is president. Well, Donald Trump hasn't been around forever.
Yeah.
It really hasn't.
No,
we've been in trouble
Nazi
a long
Pelosi
time.
and Biden and Schumer and all those people have been around
I mean,
forever.
all of these guys. I mean, did you see Nancy Pelosi, which she ended up retiring with, leaving Congress with? She's worth over $300 million.
Making $180,000 a year.
That's ridiculous.
All these Democrats that claim to be for the working person and all, they're all super.
They haven't been that way for
they're all
years.
super rich.
Yeah.
They don't have nothing to do with the working.
Of course not.
Working people. It's all a joke.
Of course.
It's all a joke.
All a facade.
Pay attention, everybody.
Yeah.
It's going to get interesting.
Keep your eyes open. As usual, we have our comment sections on Spotify, on YouTube, where you can leave your responses. And if there's a long form response you can't fit in that comment section, we have our email address, gettingoffendedtogether@gmail.com. Be sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to us on, because we appreciate that, and it helps get us out there to more people. And until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
In Calhoun's universe, the mice had everything: food, comfort, shelter, but they had no purpose. They didn't die of hunger or disease. They died of meaningless. And today, maybe we're seeing a city follow that same path. New York, a city of abundance and brilliance, has reached a point where comfort no longer satisfies and chaos feels like change. Electing a socialist or even a communist mayor isn't just politics, it's psychology. It's the scream of a population that has every material thing but can't feel anything. Calhoun's mice forgot why they built nests. We've forgotten why we build nations. So as generations, Boomer, Gen X, Millennial, Gen Z, we have to ask, are we fixing the system or fleeing from the responsibility that made it work in the first place? The real collapse won't come from hunger. It will come from apathy. And if we want to prove Calhoun wrong, we need to rediscover something the mice never had: faith, purpose, and moral courage. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us today. You're the best. Peace.